I'm trying to 100% all the games I own. The last game I completed was Black Myth Wukong. This time, we'll be playing Released in 2002, developed by 2K Czech, Mafia was originally released on PC, but in 2020, developers Hangar 13 completely remade the game and released the Definitive Edition, which has a total of 43 achievements to collect. And to complete 100% of this game, we have to complete the story on the hardest difficulty this game has to offer. An offer you can't refuse, eh? You see, I had already played Mafia when it looked like this. However, that was a long time ago. We play as Thomas Angelo, a cab driver based in the fictional city of Lost Haven, where we are introduced to Sam and Polly at gunpoint. Weird way to greet someone, but okay. You got a gun? We drive around town, ramming and escaping from the multiple different dudes who were hell-bent on killing those two dudes we met before. I'm so glad this is over, man. That was stressful as fuck. We wait in our taxi as the dudes went into the bar and came back with For a second I thought we are done. Instead, he hands us a wad of cash for damages done to our taxi, earning us our first achievement in this game, a chase through the night. The cash, though more than enough, was not much for Thomas to change his profession, and we start chapter 2 by driving an old lady, a modestly old dude, and a drunk dude,
Oh boy, you look like
earning a total of 80 cents and a coffee for the hard work that we did for the day. I was interrupted by two dudes who broke my window, thrashed my taxi, and broke my nose for driving those two dudes we met the other night. I pushed the guy and ran for my life, eventually meeting the same dudes we dropped off earlier. Yeah, boy. They didn't want extra holes to breathe from, eventually making the sensible decision of walking away, and we were invited to meet with the Dawn, finishing this chapter and earning our second achievement. At the start of chapter 3, I get to meet with the Dawn in person. We took it personal and wanted a shot at the dudes who crashed our taxi for the second time. Sensing the fire set to the chair I was seated on, the Dawn agreed and tagged us with Polly to go settle the score. I collected a cigarette card which unlocked a new achievement and went over to talk to Vincenzo, the guy you go to when you want to gear up for war or play baseball. He loaded us up with some Molotovs and I found a new magazine, unlocking yet another achievement. Once that was done, me and Polly went over to meet Ralphie.
Hey, genius! Get your head out of your ass!
He hands us the keys to the car and off we go to settle scores. We reach our location and sneak our way through the back alley, making our way to choke this dude and thrash a green car when a few dudes bash open a door and decide to throw hands at us. Since we are trained by Conor McGregor, he didn't stand a chance because we busted his nose as well as his future heritage. This is where Polly wants us to be quick, so we toss some Molotovs and light up the cars, eventually stealing a car and dodging the cops on the way back to the garage, where we pick up a comic and go meet the Don. Impressed by what we did,
Welcome to the family.
from now on, I am Italian, my friends. Luigi Mario, let's go. With that, we end the chapter, earning this achievement, and start the next one where we were on a mission to collect protection money from businesses around town. I went over to Winnie, who handed us a revolver and showed us the ropes of how to aim and shoot, along with how to reload. Not that it needed introduction. Anyway, we go to the garage where Ralphie teaches us how to boost car doors, and away we go to our first location. I went into the back room to collect yet another cigarette card and the money that the dude owed us.
Via di qui. Lasciateci in pace.
Mozzarella, zucchini, I know Italian too, woman. I drove all the way out of town to Bates Motel, our final location. While I was enjoying a puff, I heard. With Polly injured and Sam being held for interrogation, I was tasked with saving Sam from the gangsters in the motel. I clapped a couple dudes and beat up a punk, making my way into the room to collect a shotgun. Now that's handy for someone like me, boys. I noticed something on a minimap and went over to investigate, and to my surprise, it was a comic, which upon collecting, we got a new achievement. I also collected a fox, unlocking yet another achievement, and noticed that there are 50 total to collect, but that is for later. Now, we save Sam. I sent some more dudes to a meetup with God and swapped my revolver for a better revolver. Service revolver sounds nice, ain't it? It even has a short spread. Or is it? Let me check. Yep, it is shorter than what we had before. I opened the door to find Sam, beaten to a pulp, and as we were escorting him, we were bashed into by a dude with a huge bag, who also ran away in his car, forcing us to take him down to collect the cash that he had in his bag. Since we had infinite bullets, I went haywire on the dude, eventually landing a shot and collecting the bag that we were after in the first place. None of this would have happened if you had handed us the cash in the first place, my friend. Zucchini Mario Mozzarella, my friend. That concluded the chapter, earning us this achievement, and in the next one, we were shown a cutscene of Tommy talking to a police officer. You see, we are here right now, and what we saw before is somewhere around here, which means we are narrating the whole story to the police dude because we are stuck in some pickle in the present time. What is the pickle, you ask? That's something you will have to find out for yourself if you stick to the end of the video, my friend. Now, on to being an Italian and continuing this story. Fair play, my friends. Fair play. We start this mission by talking to Don, who mentions about a race coming up, and we had to modify the opponent's car so that our driver can win and we all can make some money. Make sense? I collected a new card from a room upstairs and looked at our family photograph before making my way over to Ralphie, who told us to meet a guy named Bobby. After that glorious conversation, I was off to the location and was caught over speeding by a cop. Since I wasn't carrying a gun, I thought it best to stop and have a chat with the cop. Are you going to arrest me, officer? Hey.
You need to thank you, sir. Get a little extra from him. We'll split it.
Hey, I heard that. And since I had no problems with money, I paid off the fine I had and earned an achievement. This game gives out achievements like it's Diwali, dude. Holy shit. I saw John Cena lifting a car above his head and made my way over to the racetrack to meet up with Bobby. He hopped into our car and drove over to open up a garage door to reveal a sweet looking ride. Let me be the first to tell you this car is a monster or regular road, boys. I quickly made my way over to a mechanic and he worked his magic to f this car up as best as he could. That's when I remembered I have to drive this thing back. And I have a timer? What? There have been moments where my desk felt the rage. But we finally made our way back to Bobby before he left his shift. The next day, Frank takes us to the side and tells us that our driver was beat up by Don Morello's guys, and we had to drive and win this race. That's alright, the Frankie boy. Tommy has you covered there. Tommy did in fact not had him covered, my friend, because I was playing on the hardest difficulty and the drivers were insane. Cutting corners and booping opponents off of the track was the only strategy I had at the time. And trust me when I say this race sucks. I'll cut to the chase. This is attempt number 40 and I had high hopes with this one. Inside line and boop the opponents to get a solid lead. Got this down. Great. Inside line here as well. Didn't go as expected, but we'll take it. No problem. Crazy luck, boys. We've actually win this. I swear. Oof. Oh, y'all see that? Did y'all see that? What the f was that? With that miraculous yet well-deserved victory, Lewis Hamilton aka Tommy won the race with flying colors, and I was congratulated by the boys, eventually picking up a cigarette card and being tasked to drop off drunken Polly to his place. If I may add, he had other plans too.
Tom, I want to get with the lady. I'm not helping you with that today. Take me to the ladies. Take me to the blue tropics.
And who was I to shatter someone's dream to get some booty? With that done, I earned a new achievement called Not Classy, along with finishing this chapter along with another achievement. We start the next chapter with Luigi asking us for a small favor.
Welcome my daughter home.
And who am I to deny such a request from my man Luigi? Yes, we walked with her over to a nearby shack where she drops off a cake, I assume, and made our way over to her place where we meet some punks trying to hit on Luigi's daughter.
Oh! Hey there, darling! Are you stepping out on us?
So, we break some jaws, headbutt a dude, and punch a dude into coma, eventually to fight a chonky dude. We choked him to sleep tight and punched the last dude as well. However, since we were bleeding from punching so many dudes, Sarah invites us over to her place. This was a wholesome mission, boys. Wholesome and gruesome indeed. I earned a new achievement and start the next chapter with Dawn being pissed with the dudes who tried to harass her. I picked some baseball bats from Vin and drove over to Biff to get their location, eventually collecting a new Dime Detective magazine and a comic book to then make my way over to their turf.
We gotta go.
With that lovely introduction, I slapped some dudes with the bat and fired an explosive to take out all the dudes in the yard, to collect yet another comic and saw the dudes leaving in a car which we were to follow. After a long chase, they crashed into a light pole and I'll let you watch what happens next.
Christ, Tom. You can't feel sorry for these animals. A guy like this would plug you if you give him the chance. You gotta pull the trigger without thinking. Guess I'm out. But this one's finished too.
There's a reason why the military have something called double tap poly. With that, we end the chapter and earn the achievement Storm Cloud over Chinatown. And in the next one, turns out the dude Polly assumed to be dead is alive. We were to go to a hotel to kill the manager and blow the place up. With those objectives in sight, I went over to Winnie to pick up the bomb that we are to plant, along with loading ourselves with a pistol, knife and a shotgun before making my way back to the car. I dropped off Sam at St. Michael's Church and made my way over to Corleone Hotel. I went in the restricted area and choked the receptionist to collect another card and made my way up the stairs to fight a dude and collect another card in the bathroom. Oh! He glitched out. What the f? That was indeed a weird way to die. However, once that was done, I made my way over to room 208 to find Michelle and threaten her into leaving this place and never coming back. With that done, all I had remaining was to drop the manager in the lounge. I made my way over to meet him and... oh, right between the eyes. God damn, bro. There was no point in being sneaky about what we were here for. So, I put some dudes to sleep and made my way over to the first floor to drop some more idiots. Once they were all dreaming, I made my way into this room to collect yet another card and made my way to the second floor to drop some more idiots. He died in Michael Jackson pose, bro. By this point in time, the game started bugging for me. Not that it matters now, but you will see what I am talking about soon enough. I made my way over to the third floor, dropped some more idiots and broke into a door to find what in the BDSM horny shit is this? What have you gotten yourself into, my friend? Oh my lord. With that glorious sight now burned into my mind for life, I made my way into the manager's office to collect some money and plant the bomb under his table. With all that shooting happening inside the hotel, the police came over and I had to leave ASAP because the bomb had been planted. I was thrown out a nearby window because of the explosion, somehow making it out alive and dropping some dudes before making my way over to a rooftop, fight with the local authorities, collecting a new magazine before making my way over to a ladder to enter a church. Turns out this was the same church we dropped off Sam to pick off this dude. Instead, we were spotted and I had to take down a bunch of dudes to finally catch the cheeky bugger with a bullet between his eyes.
What have you done? If you have any confessions to make, you better do it quick.
I don't even have the slightest idea of how he survived a bullet to his forehead. However, Sam came at the nick of time to drop the dude and that was the end of this mission. All we had to do now is escape from the police and I thought this was the best time to get this achievement. In order to do that, I had to shoot a bunch of cops to get my wanted level up to 5 stars and drive recklessly around town, finally dodging a roadblock and warding off the heat I had by parking the car we were in a discreet location. That took way longer than it should have, boys. Holy shit. I have been recording for over an hour to get this achievement. Oh my lord. With that done, I trashed the car I was in earlier and lockpicked a new one, earning the achievement Car Enthusiast, and made my way back to the bar, completing this mission and earning the achievement Murder in the House of God. For this next achievement, we talked to Frank at the start of this chapter, where we were tasked with bringing back a Canadian with us to the bar. I hopped in a car and made my way out of the city to meet up with Polly in a truck, and made my way over to the location we were supposed to meet this dude. Something felt off about this location and we went over to investigate, finding a new card along with a dead dude inside a truck. Turns out this was the guy we wanted to bring back with us. Instead, we were ambushed by a bunch of dudes who we put to sleep. You're up against the Counter-Strike player, boys. There's no way you are going to win this gunfight. With that done, I searched for clues and Polly came into scene, and we discovered that the dudes we dropped were border patrol. Not that it matters now, they are sleeping well, but hey, at least we now know, right? I went into a barn to find a bunch more dead dudes and found passports of the Canadian dudes we were trying to bring back with us. With no idea who did this to them, I searched for more clues, eventually entering a barn filled with enemies who we clipped. Eventually collecting a new card to make my way into yet another barn to drop 2 more dudes waiting to pounce on us. With that done, I kicked the door to find Sam defending against a bunch of cops that we dropped earlier. Naturally, we helped him win this fight against these dudes and made my way into the barn to find that Sam had been shot. We were ambushed by cops and had to defend against tons of enemies to save and rescue Sam from this hellhole. I went over to check on Sam and heard sirens of a cop car approaching from a distance. I took cover near a window, exploded a red barrel which blew up a cop car and dropped the others faster than Nicki Minaj dropped her booty. Once that was done, Polly entered the scene with our truck and we loaded Sam into the back to make our exit from this scene, eventually to be followed by a tank of some sort. But before we fight with the tank, we had to take down a bunch of cops when Polly, our amateur driver, decides to drive the truck off of a cliff, where we were finally able to fight with the tank. I shot the machine gun on top of the car, eventually chipping off the protective guard covering the faces of this lovely gentleman, toss a Molotov into their faces. With that, we end this chapter and earn the achievement we were after in the first place. Next up, we meet with Don, who talks about a mole in our family, and turns out it was Frank, Don's most trusted associate. We were tasked with finding out his location and doing what needs to be done for the family. I picked a new magazine on the way to enter our car, making my way over to Biff to collect the information on Frank's whereabouts. Biff told us to talk with little Tony, and when we talked to him, he mentioned that Frank was leaving with a cop somewhere. I picked up a new comic and lockpicked a new car to make my way over to the location that little Tony mentioned, eventually to find Frank along with the feds. I followed him to the airport, ending our tailing session. The airport was closed off for general public, so I had to sneak my way into the airport, collect a new novel to eventually drop a bunch of dudes, inching my way closer to Frank. With Frank now in my sight, he told us about what went down between him and the cops, eventually discovering that the books he stole from us are in a locker inside a bank. We let him live and fly off along with his family to then make our way to the bank that he told us about, to collect the documents that he stole from us, completing this chapter and earning yet another achievement. The next mission was a stealth one, because we had to break into this house along with a lockpick, taking down enemies in different parts of it to eventually meet up with Salvatore to enter the house. I collected yet another magazine and a card along with a cheeky fox statue to finally reach the painting that we were looking for in the first place. Salvatore probably orgasmed the way he was looking at that safe. However, he worked his magic and opened the safe, collecting the documents we were after, which in turn triggered an alarm. I dropped a bunch of enemies and made my way over to a random car along with Salvatore, escaping the police and dropping the dude off at his place, completing the chapter and earning yet another achievement. We start the next chapter with Polly taking the lead on a whiskey dealer to make some money for our family, because we were light in the money department due to the ongoing disputes with Morello. While driving over to the said location with Sam, Polly and Carlo, I had a fleeting suspicion of this Carlo dude. How come he's never showed his face with the boys before, right? Something about this feels extremely off to me. My spider senses were all over the place. However, once we reached the location, I drove to the top floor of this parking lot to meet with the contact that Polly brought in for the family. The deal concluded as we handed him the money and he handed us the keys to the truck. However, this was a setup. What the Polly? That's right, Polly is coaching this whiskey dealer's contact from Morello's department into ours. However, things took a turn for the worse. We were ambushed by a bunch of dudes who we sent to Wonderland, making our way to the lower levels. This cycle repeats for a while until we were tasked with watching Sam's back, as he'll be driving the truck today. Since we had unlimited bullets, I unloaded the pistol onto them like a machine gun, picking them off one by one, until Sam decides to drive through some houses, destroying what I assumed to be an entire neighborhood. Will definitely be in the papers tomorrow. Who gave this guy a driving license, dude? What the fuck? The chase finally ended when we made our way back to the warehouse we initially left from, ending this chapter with drinks all around for the boys and earning an achievement, Best Laid Plans. We start the next chapter by driving down Salieri to a restaurant in the most luxurious car I have ever driven in this game. When we reached and seated for lunch, nobody ordered what came next.
Get down!
What the hell? Morello! Bastard could have at least let me finish my wine.
If I were there, I would have suggested Don to get his priority straight. However, he ordered us to ambush the dudes by sneaking out the back, eventually sending all the dudes to meet with God. Once that was done, the Don was angry as f and ruled out the mole to be Carlo. We drove over to his apartment and broke into his room, where the Don opened up a wine bottle on his head. Since adrenaline was rushing through Carlo's veins, he pushed the Don off and ran out the window, making us follow him down an alley. I took a shortcut and cut him off while he was trying to climb a rafter, and the next scene was where Tommy realized what family he was actually part of.
alive?
I'm not sure.
Now we're sure.
With that done, we end the chapter and earn a new achievement. The next chapter was named Happy Birthday, so I assumed this will be similar to the mission where we walked Grace to her home. But no. Don was planning to take out a politician who sided with Morello to scare off all his allies and leave him in cold turkey. Once the cutscene was done, I saw something amazing. Oh, what is happening right now? Hey, my friend, can you hear me? We walked down the stairs and got into a car to make my way over to the docks to meet up with Sam and Polly. Once there, I collected a magazine and made my way over to Polly, who showed us our getaway speedboat and asked us to meet with Sam, who was assigned with the responsibility to get us on the boat to slap the politician. Sam opened the door for us and we collected a new card along with making our way into the bathroom to find a sailor passed out. We dressed up as a crewmate and hopped onto the boat to start this mission. I collected a magazine and met with the janitor in the engine room, who planted a gun in the washroom for us and handed us the keys to it, along with collecting a fox statue hidden nearby. Once inside the washroom, I got the gun and went over to the top of the boat to collect a magazine. Wait for the dude to finish his speech. When the fireworks lit, that was our indicator to put a bullet between these dudes' eyes, which we did, along with putting a few more dudes to sleep before making my way downstairs. This cycle repeats until we reach the point where we jump into the speedboat and end the chapter, earning the achievement Death on the Water. The next mission was called You Lucky Bastard, and it started with Winnie and Sam chasing down and gunning Morello's brother. He indeed was one lucky fellow because he dodged a bullet, probably because of a pothole in the road, to then make his way across the train tracks, which we made it to somehow just in the nick of time. Alas, we had a flat tire and Morello's brother escaped. We had a meeting with the boys back at the bar and Don assigned your boy to put Morello's brother in the ground. Winnie, on the other hand, handed us a custom made bomb which explodes as soon as the car is turned on. With that information, I went over to his place, collected a magazine and planted the bomb. Turns out his wife wanted to go for a ride and she wasn't so lucky after all. We call Vinny on the phone and he tells us that Sergio, aka Morello's brother, is at a restaurant across town and asked us to make our way over there as soon as possible. Mourning over what I saw, I made my way over to the diner and me meet up with Sam and Polly, who handed us Tommy guns to finish what we started. Like all other missions, this too became a chase and we had to put other people in the ground first before chasing Sergio on a bike. We do a bike slide and drop Sergio's brother, Giorgio, along with a ton of nameless dudes who sacrificed their lives in vain because I made my way through their force like they were paper, eventually catching Sergio, who went to hide in a train depot. I pulled a lever and smashed the door with a train carriage, eventually shooting Sergio to trigger a cutscene. You ain't that lucky, boss. Right between the eyes. Oh, maybe you are lucky. What? I see
What did I
red
tell
pallets
you?
all around. Burn this idiot?
No one can touch me.
Maybe not, but fire sure will touch you in all places. That glorious explosion, we finished this chapter and unlocked the achievement when God stopped smiling. These achievements are so relevant, dude. Oh my lord. We were shown war against the gangs at the start of next chapter. However, the Don had other plans for everyone. You see, Morello was at the theater amongst the top 0.1% of folks, and we wanted to send a message to everyone in that room that Don Salieri does not fuck around. The plan was to drop him dead in front of everyone so that fear runs in their veins. We had Sam and Polly in the car as we made our way to the theater. However, Morello caught the gist of what was about to happen and left the scene in his car, with us following him from behind. Utter chaos would be the word I may be looking for to describe what was happening in front of my eyes as we drove like a madman across town over to the airport. What's with gangsters and planes, man? If you could leave the place anytime, why not leave when the first attack happened to you? That was indeed a plausible thought. However, we clapped a ton of enemies as I made my way over to open a door to see Morello flying off in an airplane. We get into the car and shoot his engines, one at a time. And a wild goose chase begins as we follow Morello's plane down into the city as he crashes at a nearby barn. We empty the entire magazine on the dude in the cutscene, and that was it for this chapter, earning yet another achievement. We start the next chapter with the boss giving out an assignment to us to clap a politician named Turnbull who was aiming at shutting down gangs like ours. So we had to do something about it, right? I talked to Vinny after that cutscene and he tells us about a sniper rifle which looks like this, stashed at a tower on top of a prison. At this point in time, the game went really wonky for me. Missing textures, improper lighting, everything that looked beautiful looked like that no more. With all that in mind, I made my way over to the prison and climbed all the way to the top, grabbing the rifle and putting a bullet in Turnbull. With that done, I had to get out of here, and since we assassinated a notable politician, the police were out looking for us and were already in the prison before we could leave. The only problem being, they were all bugged as well. I quickly took down a bunch of buggy cops and made my way out of here with a 5-star wanted level. And trust me when I say this, the whole city was chasing us down. I somehow managed to lose their sight and hid behind a lighthouse, seeing the cops go by without tracking me down. As soon as the wanted level disappeared, I made my way back home, completing this mission and earning a view from the top. Just so you know, Just for Relaxation is the third last mission in this story, so we are coming to an end. I'd really appreciate if you guys also shot the subscribe button. We start the next chapter with the Don assigning us to get a cigar shipment from the feds, and turns out all three of us were on this mission. As soon as we were done talking, I drove to the customs impound and dropped off Sam and Polly to get the rest of the gear, as we went on to steal a truck from a nearby location. Once the truck was in our possession, I went to meet the boys and hopped in the back to enter the customs warehouse. We were tasked with finding where the crates were in this huge warehouse and were tipped to search the files to narrow down where the cigar shipment could be kept. I climbed onto a rooftop and dropped down to take out a couple of guys to make my way onto another rooftop to climb through an open window, reading my first clue which said that the cigar boxes were stashed away in a warehouse. I choked the dude to sleep and went through the files in the cabinet to find that the cigar boxes were kept in the D2 section inside the warehouse. I then made my way down the stairs and choked two dudes to fall asleep along with an officer under the light and tucked him away, and we went into the warehouse. There was this long hallway with 3 guards with set patterns, and once I got that down, I took them all down silently to make my way down the stairs to find those crates we have been looking for all along. With that done, we load up the truck with the merchandise, and as soon as we were leaving, they sounded the alarm. How convenient of them to find this out the moment we were leaving, man. How convenient indeed, my friend. They set up roadblocks to trap us. However, since we had a mini-map helping us, I took the most sane path and made it out in one piece. I drove the truck back to the warehouse, and while checking for the diamonds that we hauled from the feds, this is what we found instead.
If we ruined any of the cigars.
What the hell? Christ. It's dope.
Seems like Don had a spelling error when he said diamonds instead of dope. But anyway, with that done, I finished this chapter earning the next story achievement. The next chapter starts in a bank as Polly had an idea for a retirement.
You doing this?
You guessed it, we are going to rob this place. Try, my friends. Polly started with knocking the security guard and gaining control of the floor with the people on it. I was tasked with getting the keys to the vault from the manager upstairs. He wasn't being cooperative in our operation, so I collected the keys from his suit, and on we go to open up the vault downstairs. We met with some resistance, however there's nothing Tommy cannot handle, right? We eventually open the vault and load a bag with our retire money now. Someone from the bank sounded the silent alarm and the cops came outside before before we could leave, and Polly, now shitting bricks, came to us to carry the bag as we dropped a ton of police officers down to escape through the back door and lockpicked a new car, unlocking the achievement Quite the Collection. I drove like a goose on the loose to escape from the cops to eventually get myself stuck on some stairs. Who can imagine this happening, right? You're saying I have to restart the entire police chase just because my wheels do not touch the ground? I thought if I can slam the car fast enough by running into it, maybe it'll help the wheels touch the ground. And it sure did help. We escaped and handed the money over to Polly, who we were going to meet the next day to split our retirement money and leave this area while we could, completing this chapter and unlocking the second last achievement that we can get. I didn't happen to record the last chapter and the 2-hour run I did for collecting every cigarette card, magazine, comics and those secret foxes, along with finding the locations of all the secret cars. My luck, I guess. But hey, on the bright side, we did earn all achievements, making this our second game played to 100% completion. I'll catch you guys in the next one.